DIVA breakthrough experience and a leading advocate for helping high-achieving women heal from Superwoman syndrome, known as a DIVA whisperer. She empowers wealth-creating, primary earning women to break free from burnout and self-sacrifice through her transformative coaching programs and keynote speeches. Her work calls every driven, inspiring, visionary alpha woman to release a cape, reclaim her main character energy, and commit to never losing herself again. That was a great bio, Cherry, and the stage is all yours.
Well, thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to be here. I'm certainly looking forward to having this conversation with the audience this morning. I'm going to share my screen so that we can get started. Okay, just want to confirm that you can see my screen. Melinda? Melinda, can you see my screen?
Please go ahead.
Okay, I cannot hear you. I just want to confirm that you can see my screen.
No, Cherry, can you please share it again?
Okay, that's what I was asking. Okay, just a second. Okay. Well, why don't we have you share the slides? So that way I can make sure that I can also see the chat. Deborah said that we can see it, so you can see it. Melinda, go ahead and share the slides. That way I'll be able to still see everything here.
Okay. Can we share from our end?
You have the slides. I sent them. Yes.
Yeah. Give me 2 minutes, Cherry. So I will share from my.
Okay. Well, as we begin our session, I just want to, curious to know, for those of us in the audience who are juggling many different responsibilities as women, how often, and this can be a yes or no, you can put yes or no into the chat. How often have you felt that you were like Superwoman and you were juggling so many different roles and responsibilities and tasks and meeting so many demands? If you can put a yes or a no in the chat, let me see if you've ever felt like you were a Superwoman, accomplishing the impossible, handling, I love that, yes, and yes, all of the roles in the in your life. And it looks like there are about 55 people, I think, in this session, is what I saw. Yeah, so we're going to get started talking about Superwoman syndrome and what that means, how it shows up, and what we can do to eradicate it. Obviously, we won't be able to eradicate it in this session, but we certainly will be able to start taking steps towards improving our ability to not succumb under the pressure of the weight of the cape. So again, yes.
Yeah, your presentation is on live, and please go ahead with that.
Okay, everything's clear now? Yeah. Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Melinda. I appreciate you. All right, so moving to our next slide, as Melinda mentioned earlier, that I am a master credentialed coach. I am certainly looking forward to sharing some of the concepts that I have learned and have applied in my own life to help you, as my fellow sisters and women, to overcome Superwoman syndrome. As well as this keynote speech is really about us growing together and learning together and giving ourselves permission to release the cape. So that's what we're going to look forward to doing. Let's go to our next slide. So there is an invisible cape. We often don't even recognize that we are wearing it. And when you came into the session today, you had more than just yourself. You might have the weight of being the primary breadwinner in your home or family. You might have the weight of being, having the identity of being the strong one, the one who can always figure it out, the one who everyone comes to ask you to help them figure their things out. You might be exhausted from excellence because you strive for excellence and you are excellent and brilliant in all that you do. And you might also have a little bit of guilt or sometimes just wanting to do nothing and to rest and to relax and to re-energize yourself without providing all the answers for everyone else. So, but here's the truth. The cape that you may be wearing, that invisible cape, it's costing you more than you know. Let's go to the next slide so we can begin to find out what that is costing you. And we're going to talk about the founders of Superwoman syndrome and how it even transferred. Was really the author of what, and she was the author. And yes, could you make those slides a little bit larger, please? She was the author of the book and the idea of women being pressured to do it all, and at a personal cost. You know, there's a cost to delivering this type of performance and handling all things for everyone, being everything to everyone all the time. And so then that was the syndrome. And then as we moved forward in time, Cheryl focused on Superwoman schema. And that is where the Superwoman schema is actually targeted a lot on women of color who, for various reasons, take on even, more of this cape of trying to ensure that their families, many who are not accompanied by perhaps fathers, father figures in the role of the family often at times, and they often having to take on the role of all things, mother, father, professional, caregiver for elderly parents, sister, auntie, all the things. Not that it doesn't happen in other families that are not families of color. However, there is an extra burden or load that sometimes occurs in the families of women of color as well. So on top of just the role that women play in general, sometimes there's an additional weight of the cape. So let's move forward and talk more about what this weight of the cape does to us over time. So as we define Superwoman syndrome, it is the relentless pursuit of perfection, because when we do it as women, we do it right. And we don't leave anything undone. We leave no stone unturned. We take care of everything and everyone to a T. And it is silently killing us as high achieving women. It is striving for excellence in all roles simultaneously. So we don't just do one thing and focus on that one thing. We have all the balls in the air, juggling them all the time, consistently, and frequently, all at once. We're a partner if we have spouses. We're parents. We're caregivers. We're professionals trying to climb the corporate ladder. We're community members. We volunteer. We have big hearts. And we really want to do a fantastic job in every one of those roles. But you know what happens as we do that and all the things for other people is we often neglect our own self-care. You know how when we get on the airplane and we take our seats and we buckle up and the flight attendants, they say, put on your own mask first. Well, oftentimes we forget all about our mask and we continue to go about the business of making sure everyone is cared for because as natural nurturers, we take care of everyone else. And the first thing that tends to go, if you look at the image of that calendar, is our own self-care. It's usually the first thing that goes. And the core belief behind this is I can and should do all of these things without showing strain or even asking for help. You know, we'll see each other. How you doing? Fine, just busy. Fine. And we go on about our day and we keep doing all the things. But the truth of the matter is that you're capable of you're obligated to handle all of those things. We have to discern what we must say yes to and what we must say no to. We have to discern and make choices intentionally about what we say yes and no to. Next slide, please. So as we look at Superwoman schema in particular, and please enlarge the slide, we see that Dr. Woods Giscombe's research talked about the 5 obligations that are rooted in the historical survival mechanisms that we as women take on. 1, the obligation to be strong. Like we don't see any other option, which is why we often don't ask for help, and which is why our core belief is that we can and we should do all these things simultaneously in excellence at one time. The obligation to suppress emotions. We actually feel like we don't have time to sit and sulk over all the things that might not be going right or that we might have on our plate at any given time. We feel like we have an obligation to nurture others. I remember one day I used to work for Homeland Security, and I was walking by and I saw someone, a young woman, and she just looked like she needed to talk. And I walked by and said, hey, we don't know each other, but I think it's important for us to go to lunch. I want to get to know you. And certainly we went to lunch. We had a wonderful conversation, and we are fast friends. It's like my little sister today. But it's a natural inclination that we as women have. And we nurture others naturally without even question. We'll even walk up to strangers and make sure that they are okay. So how much more so do we do that with those whom we know and are in relationship with and our family members and close friends? So we have this obligation internally to nurture others. There's an obligation also to be independent. Oh no, I got it. I'm fine. I can handle it. It's okay. I'll get it done. Even if it takes us all night, even if we have, sleepless nights and, we're burning the candle, so to speak, at both ends, we will get it done. And finally, all of that is built on the foundation of we must succeed. We can't let anybody down. We must be the model for success and excellence, especially if we have people watching, whether it's our daughters, family members, our friends. We want to make sure that we're that excellent model. But there are some significant health impacts to this. When we function and operate at this level consistently, hypertension in women is 2 times higher. We have increased cardiovascular disease risk, higher levels of chronic inflammation, and delayed help in seeking, help from others, causes all of this stress that really wreaks havoc on our body. So these patterns are really silently killing us because typically we are not aware of these internal functions going awry until we have some type of event. And hopefully we can address this syndrome and this schema before there's some type of event, cardiac event that takes us down or out of this world. And that's why I felt it was so important to really emphasize and reiterate the importance of giving attention to what's really, really happening silently so that we can make different. I see a question in the chat. How does perfectionism contribute to burnout? Excellent question. And while I'm answering that question, Melinda, please increase that slide for me. So number one, perfectionism is a mindset, and any ism has to do with how we think and feel about the thing called perfect. So when we're striving to be perfect, and I challenge all of us to define perfect for me, and we'll all have a different definition. And I even challenge you to ask yourself, does perfect ever even exist? Does perfect exist? But perfectionism is always striving to get to whatever you've conjured up in your mind based on what either people have intimated to you, based on models or examples that you have seen of what perfect looks like, and then trying to meet and even exceed that level of performance. And so when we're doing that, we're definitely not really giving attention to maybe how we're feeling, what's at risk for us, what's not working so well for us. And we keep striving. We're hungry, we don't pay attention. It's important to recognize that the more perfect, whatever in your mind, is really the pursuit of something that might not even really be possible, because I believe of continuous improvement. So I'm not sure myself, does perfect even exist? I'm going to do my best always, but we're always, if we're striving for perfection, we will reach a level of burnout. And that level of burnout will decrease our effectiveness and level of performance in terms of moving forward on accomplishing whatever we want in our mind of whatever perfect is. What are the emotional and physical costs of constantly wearing the cape? It's coming right up. We're going to talk about that shortly. Melinda, were you able to increase that slide? I can see, first of all, what, the point of this is that wearing this cape is causing exhaustion in the sense of all of the burnout. It's not empowerment for us. It is really a prison that we put ourselves in, and it all starts with our mindset. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. There are psychological and physiological effects of wearing this cape constantly, over functioning, over performing, and constant self-betrayal. There was a study by Pew Research that was done that highlighted 40% of households with children include mothers as the primary income source. And this was up 11% from 1960. So this is increasing, where women are showing up in their households as the primary breadwinners. The roots of all of this comes a lot from, there's some generational survival patterns. I mentioned a little earlier, and certainly families of color, just for various reasons. The mother is usually not with a partner in the household that is dual incomed, and therefore they have to be mother, father. They usually sometimes are taking care of elderly parents as well as their children. You might have heard of the sandwich generation. And so that's a lot of responsibility from taking care of our elders as well as our children and trying to raise them up in a healthy environment. There's cultural conditioning that comes along with this. And we'll talk about the Anjali effect. We'll talk about that commercial in a moment. Some of you may be familiar with it. There are societal scripts that constantly play in our mind about a woman's role and what women should do. And so that's where sort of the roots are, the foundation is. And then some Superwoman schema research that that I've identified here, it talks about having success at any cost, using all of the resources that we have available to us. And again, at the expense of our own well-being and our own care, helping others and avoiding taking care of ourselves because we just feel like we don't have the time. Again, exhaustion is disguised as excellence, but we are all very tired and we don't often talk about it, but this is the place where we're going to have this conversation. Next slide, please. All right. So I'm going to play this. It's not really important for you to look at the video. It's a commercial, but I'm going to play this. I'm going to have Melinda play the video here. Are you able to play the video, Melinda? It looks like I don't see the play button. And that might be because you have the PDF version of the deck. So, let's see here. Well, what I did was I put there's this Anjali commercial, was a commercial about perfume. And it started with singing about, women. You can see they're all women here. And this is hilarious to me because as I look back, I think it was 1978. I would have never known the commercial was about perfume. But one of the famous lines in that commercial, and that I always remembered, was, "I can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, and never ever let you forget you're a man." Now, back in 1978, this was the soundtrack to me that really promoted Superwoman syndrome. And here it is. Women can and should do it all, is what that tells me. I can bring home the bacon, I make all the money, cook it up for you, and take care of all things women responsibilities, including in the bedroom, most likely, regardless of whether I'm tired or not, and never let you forget you're a man. So we're managing the household perfectly. We can work and bring home the income. We're sexually available and desirable at all times. We're all things, all times to our husbands and our mates. And so if this is the case, then this was the soundtrack that was in our minds. I'm wondering, so you stopped sharing, Melinda? Do you want me to start sharing? And if so, I would need to, I say, okay, we're sharing again. I would need to, you to help me with what's in the chat, because I can't see the chat when I'm sharing. That's why I wanted you to share. Perfect. So the reality is this is an impossible standard for us to maintain. It's impossible without killing ourselves. This promotes chronic self-betrayal and burnout, and it laid the foundation for perfectionism and for us to expect that we can do all these things and for others to expect us to do it. And it promotes the belief that rest in and of itself is failure. all nonsense and all foolishness as far as I'm concerned. So I think it was time to rewrite the script. So here's what I like to say. I like to say, I am tired of being the bacon. I want to eat the bacon, preferably on some beautiful beach in the sand with a mimosa at midday every day. That's what I want. This script, I scratched it. So I did a brief poll of women in 2025, powerhouse divas, founders, CEOs, professionals, VPs in organizations and corporations. And I asked them, these wealth creating divas who were the center of gravity for their families, emotionally, strategically, financially, all the things, about their relationship with success and self-care. More than half of the women wanted permission to rest without guilt, without feeling like, oh, I'm resting, but I feel like I should be doing A through Z. And therefore, even though I'm laying here, my mind is not at rest because I am so concerned about everything else that I should be doing. So we're burning out from within while trying to maintain the perfect exterior on the outside. You can see some of the other statistics here. 76% of these women report chronic exhaustion, 60% sacrifice personal relationships, time spent with really being present with others and building with others. 85% are working beyond the normal 40-hour week. 3 times have higher anxiety rates. The ugly truth is this: what society back from probably even before 78, I think I was 6 at that time that song came out, and I still remember it today, which is why it came to my mind when I was doing this presentation and talking about Superwoman syndrome. Society celebrates having it all and us doing it all, but this is actually a recipe for exhaustion, isolation, feeling alone, drowning in our own overwhelm, and the gradual erosion of you being your authentic self. Next slide. So back to my question about the costs. That was Arlinda. Here we go. The physical costs: chronic stress, burnout, anxiety, fatigue, and exhaustion. Sleep disturbances. At one point, I was on sleeping pills. I might have had a glass of wine to help me go deeper into sleep because I couldn't, because the mind wouldn't shut off. That's the anxiety. Nervous system dysregulation. Weakened immune system, constantly getting sick, picking up any little germs, muscle tension and headaches. So I was having spasms. And as I went to the doctor, I said, I don't know why my body keeps tensing. It's happening at night. I drop to the floor, or I have to jump out the bed and try to straighten my leg and walk. What's happening? He finally diagnosed me with rheumatoid arthritis. It is an autoimmune disorder, and it can be triggered, and you can have flare-ups because of stress and anxiety. Well, I realized I was under too much stress and anxiety, enough that was taking me out of here. I was having heart palpitations, and I would take the stress test, and the doctor said, well, your heart is okay. It's just anxiety I was having. I was trying to manage a whole household, take care of the medical benefits for the family, take care of 2 houses, take care of my husband, take care of all the things. I was killing myself. And nobody actually said, sit, stop, rest. So I realized I had to say it for myself if I wanted to continue to breathe and live. Emotional costs: isolation and loneliness, resentment and anger. I can tell you about that. So, but that's my fault because I let things go on too long. And if you are letting things go on too long and not making the adjustments that you need to make, that resentment and anger is going to seep out in ways that will surprise you. So this is why we have to talk about this and take care of it sooner rather than later. Guilt at rest. We talked about that. Loss of joy, fulfillment, and spontaneity. I don't want to do that. Your girls invite you to do something fun. No, I'm too tired. No, I need to clean the house. No, I need to go pick up the kids. No, 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 no. I need to do something else for someone else. And emotional numbness. At some point, you're so tired you can't even feel anymore. You are on automatic play and you're not even feeling like a human being anymore because you've turned into a human doing. Relationship costs, strain on your partnerships or your marriage. You're living or modeling unhealthy patterns because guess who's watching? There's something called intergenerational transmission of Superwoman syndrome. If you have young children, young daughters, young nieces, or young women, young children, girl daughters, and even young men, because if they see this in their moms or their aunties, this is what they'll expect women to do just in general. But for our young daughters, this is what they think is normal. This is what they think is expected and acceptable. And therefore they grow up. It's not even talked about like this is what you should do. No, they're just looking at your example and then they imitate and they model it. Secondly, you have superficial connections because you don't have time enough to have deep connections and to nurture those things at a visceral level because you're so busy moving from one thing to the next that you don't have time to go deeply into those relationships or address things that you might notice in relationships because you're just moving too fast. And ultimately, you can feel disconnected from loved ones. Professional costs. There are diminishing returns on trying to do everything so perfectly. When you wear yourself out and you burn yourself out, you have to take leave from work sometimes. I've worked with several coaching clients that have had to do that. They just had to shut down and they had to shut everything down and step away to heal and to regroup and to re-energize themselves. It's an unsustainable pace, and there's decision fatigue. I know I got tired of making all the decisions in my household. I was exhausted. Decide this, decide that. What do you want to do with this? What do you want? I was tired of making decisions. So that's a real thing as well. It reduces your creativity and innovation because you're just trying to get through the day and get back to sleep just so you can have a few moments of quiet and of rest. But with the aid of maybe sleeping pills, with the aid of creating unhealthy habits that are limiting you from taking care of yourself, not working out. If you can't sleep well, oh, and I'm sorry, I didn't mention this, but perimenopause and menopause on top of all of this, that's a whole nother talk. So hopefully I'll be back with that one in the future. So all of this, your professional life can be derailed if you're not showing up as your best self because you're not rested and your mind is not clear and you're dealing with all of these things. So these are some of the costs. In the chat, can you please share with me, just kind of indicate any of those costs that might be showing up for you as we're in the chat. I'm going to keep moving us forward. So your nervous system is not designed for constant performance. We've all heard of the fight or flight response or reaction, right? When we face a threat, it activates our go mode. It gives us all the chemical energies or chemical releases in our body to give us the energy to stand up against a threat. And it certainly is, it's for short-term survival. It is not for us to stay in this fight or flight mode over a long period of time. So it can definitely lead to a lot of burnout and the medical, physical challenges that we talked about. When you're in a state of fight or flight on a consistent basis, not healthy for you at all. So we need to rest and digest. We need to regroup and re-energize ourselves. We work hard, we need to rest hard. We play hard, we need to regenerate and revitalize ourselves hard. This allows for the healing and the connection that we need so that we can take care of ourselves as we move forward. This is where us as divas, high achieving, wealth creating women struggle because we don't know how to step away and to create that safe space for ourselves to continue to heal and move forward. So, the Superwoman trap, when you're constantly in this mode, your body interprets rest as danger. Danger, and that's crazy. Rest is interpreted by your mind and your body as danger. I should be doing something. I'm falling behind. I am, going to be late on deliverables, or I'm missing out on something, or I'm just behind. If I take the time and just stop, stop, we actually become addicted to the adrenaline of achievement, of getting things done and checking them off of our checklist. And burnout becomes our baseline way of being. And that's a sad state of affairs for us. So we're going to have to stop and pause and heal, because our nervous system is going to demand it of us. It's better that we start to listen to the whispers of our body than for us to have to try to respond to a scream. When the body is keeping score and it is telling us through a headache, through a chest pain, through a sleepless night, through brain fog and cognitive dissonance, we need to listen, because once those whispers become shouts and screams, it can be too late for us to take the necessary action that we need to take to protect ourselves and heal ourselves from this. Let's move forward to our next slide. So that's where I created the Diva Breakthrough Experience. Diva, many people have a little bit of a visceral reaction to, oh, I don't know if I want to be a diva. Well, we all need to be divas, because we all need to go through this framework, whether you do it in concert with me or whether you do it on your own by following the framework outlined in my book, Ditch the Cape, From Superwoman to Sovereign Woman. This is what it stands for. It's a soul-rooted framework to help you reclaim yourself and never lose yourself again. The D stands for discovery and deconstruction. Discover what it is that you are doing and why you're doing it. Where does it come from? I discovered that my cape, the first stitch of my cape, happened when I was just about 6 years old. My mom and dad had separated. We were still in the house in New York. It was a very, very cold winter. My mom had polio, so she had somewhat of a limp. I would watch her every morning go into our bathroom because the heat was turned off. She would light the kerosene heater. It would blow so loud, but the heat felt so good. But the eye of that red bullet in that kerosene heater, it traumatized me. And when I saw my mother doing this to warm up the bathroom so that I could take a shower, a bath, and then get dressed and go to school and perform, that's when I first stitched my cape, because I decided at that very moment, me and my family, we would never go without. And that woman who had polio, who was doing her very best to take care of me and my siblings, she would never want for anything. And I made sure of that until the day that she died. She never wanted for anything, because myself, my siblings, we were always there for her. But that's when I put my cape on, because I realized that's where it came from. I was going to make sure I always had, I always took care of. I could not really 100% rely on anybody, because they might not be there always. So I did some of it to myself. I'm learning to undo those things, and I'm learning to let people take care of me now, but it's been a long journey. So I had to deconstruct what was and create my new patterns and my new beliefs. I had to disrupt the old to start creating space for the new. The I stands for inspiration and installation. I had to look at examples of, what did I want to feel like? What did I want my life to include? How did I want to rest and take care of myself? What options did I have? So that started with me getting deep tissue massages every week for 90 minutes, part of my schedule. Just like I go to work every day, I was going to get my massage every week. And that was just part of my budget. Because I came first, because I do So I need to take care of my instrument. I am. I'm going to get those nights when I decide I want to stay up because I'm so passionate about an assignment I'm doing. But that's not the regular. That used to be my regular pattern. But what's regular now is 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I'm going to get my rest. I don't want bags under my eyes. I take care of my skin. I have a skin routine. I do all the things that I think are important. I saw my mother do oil of Olay and massage her face and her skin and lift her neck and push it up in her forehead. I take time and I do all of that now because I take time for me because I am my instrument. Vitality and vibration, I do things that make me feel alive. I love music. I love dancing. I love all the things that make me feel good. So I make time to dance. I go to Zumba each week. I teach dance. Melinda, please go back to the slide. I need to finish my A. The A stands for artistry, abundance, and alignment. I already, of course, I know my framework by heart, but I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. So, designing a life, architecting my life by design. So, it's filled with things that I create. That's my artistry. You have your own unique sauce and how you build and create. So do I. Abundance. I don't live in a scarcity mindset anymore. Whatever I choose to do, I'm going to find a way and make a way to have it done because it brings me joy and I live an abundant life. And my life is in alignment with my values. I know what my values are. Part of that discovery is going back to what are your core values? Do you remember what you stand for? Are you honoring or trampling on your values, the way that you're living your life? And when you've answered that in the D phase of the discovery, and you deconstruct that, say, yeah, construct that with the evidence, in your head, you might, then you look at your decisions and you look at how you're sacrificing yourself, you might be like, yeah, maybe not so much. So when you come back down to the A in alignment, now you need to be making decisions about what is going to honor your values and not trample upon them. Okay, so that's the diva framework. It is a process that we go through in order to deconstruct what's happening, what your reality is, and creating that better future for yourself. So we're unmasking, we're releasing what doesn't and no longer serves us. We're creating space and confronting some of the real truths, the hard truths that we need to face about why we do what we do, why we say yes to things we want to say no to. Who are we trying to impress? And we need to let that go. The infamous them, what are they going to think? What are they going to, who's they? Who cares about them? So please, I love Mel Robbins' let them theory. Let them do what they're going to do and let you and I reconstruct lives that make us feel good, look good, and be good in everything that we do. And oh, by the way, truth telling. I want to tell you that by being able, I don't know, I think it is something about 50. I used to hear people say, when you're 50, you kind of say and do what you want to say and do. And for those of you who aren't there yet, you'll see when you get there. And for those over 50, I hear it even gets better the older we get. So I'm looking forward to it. But truth telling, respectfully, lovingly, but speaking what needs to be said and not holding all that stuff inside to let it turn on your own body and cause autoimmune diseases. Girl, let it out. Say what needs to be said and keep it moving forward. So we have some discovery tools. You're going to have access to this DBX Burnout Pulse Index because I want to know where you are. So I want you to take this assessment when you have a moment, short assessment. Figure it's going to give you a score, going to tell you where you are. And depending on where you are, you might want to talk about it. And I offer a 30-minute complimentary conversation for us to have as a dialogue, just to talk about, hey, girl, this is what I realized, and this is what I want to do about that. Great, no commitment at all. But if you choose to want to work with me for us to really get you to someplace in 6 months, because by the way, if we've been dealing with these practices over time, it's going to take time. You're not going to make these changes like that just from this presentation. This is just to expose and to speak the unspoken about societal programming that we have been under, and it's time for us to ditch the cape and flush all that programming down the toilet. We're going to talk about how we reset our nervous system, and I talked already about the values clarification to really get clear about what do I stand for, and am I honoring that? Let's go through the I. Some key themes in the I here as we move forward is all about, as we move to our next slide, Melinda, that's the inspiration and installation phase. And this is all about our soul set, right? Really just trying to make sure that after we got our mindset right and we understand what's happening, that now this being who we are, this is where our restoration is going to truly begin. And we're going to start figuring out what do we want. And we're going to find our diva main character energy again. We're going to think back to times where we felt like we were the best versions of ourselves, whether that was when we were younger, whether that was recently, or,
Hello, Cherry.
Yes, I see we have 5 minutes left.
Yeah. Please
Yes.
continue with 5 minutes, please.
Yeah, so let's, if you, would you do this for me? I want to, I'm going to go to any questions that we have, but go through the next slide for the V to go through I just want to show the slide so that people can see what's included in the vitality and vibration. This is our heart set and health set, where we're really going to talk about the things that make you energized and feel good. And then the A, under artistry, abundance, and alignment, this is where we're going to find our flow. This is where we're going to move through and use our power, and we're going to live an abundant life. Alignment is the new flow. Alignment is the new flow that we're going to have. Next slide. So if we're going to focus on alignment, and I already gave you a little bit about my story, this is where I'm moving in my life. I have my vision for 26. I'm speaking, doing that now. I'm going to have my podcast. I can talk to you, beautiful, brilliant women, to talk about your journey and how you're coming through it, through the Diva breakthrough. And then we're going to live in abundance, and we're going to celebrate together. So let's move forward to our next slide. I want to get to the QR code. You can move forward about this being evidence-based. You can see all of that. Here's where we're going to go to. These are some quotes here. Let's look at where are you now? A, B, or C? You can just put in the chat if you'd like to. Are you in the sovereign zone? Energized, aligned, and leading from your truth? You flow. Are you in the survival zone? B, you can just put A, B, or C in the chat. In the survival zone, are you getting it done, but you're tired, anxious, and pushing hard? Or C, are you in the burnout zone, where you're running on fumes, resentful, numb, and disconnected? Put that into the chat so that we can see if you're feeling like A, B, or C. Here's the permission slip that I want to give you, the official Diva Breakthrough Excellence Decree. You have permission to rest without having to earn it first. You have permission to say no without offering an explanation. No, period, is a complete sentence. You have permission to disappoint others to stay true to yourself. You have permission to have the courage to be disliked. You have permission to have the courage to be happy. And you have the permission to take up space with your brilliance. And if you're saying this, you say to take up space with, I take up space with my brilliance. All right, so this is from the Diva Whisperer. Now, please do scan that QR code so you can take the DBX Burnout Pulse Index. Make sure you have that so you can claim your free gift. And then go to the next slide. And if you'd like to talk about your results or talk about the Diva Breakthrough experience in more detail, feel free to scan that QR code and you can schedule time with me so that we can just have a 30-minute compliment about your cape. Next slide. If you know of anyone or anything, any opportunities to have this talk about Superwoman syndrome and the ditching the cape, feel free to reach out to me. I'd certainly be happy to bring this to a location near you. or in an organization where you are. And our final slide, I believe, if not one close to it. If you'd like to learn more about the framework, if you scan this QR code, you can access the book on Amazon, Ditch the Cape, From Superwoman to Sovereign Woman, the Diva Breakthrough Experience, and take the journey home with you. I am the Diva Whisperer. Here are 3 truths that I want to leave you with. In our next slide, you are not the cape. Go back one slide. You are not the cape. Ditch it. Burnout is a boundary breach. Burnout is a boundary breach. Your boundary that you need to hold for yourself. And finally, alignment, that's not balance. We're focusing on alignment, not balance. So sovereignty is a choice. Make the right choice, and you get to choose every single day. All right, I think that's it. I'm going to close out here. Any questions, or feel free to reach out to me. Melinda, do they have access to the slides?
No.
They won't. Okay. So feel free. You can screenshot or take my information here. These are all the ways to reach me. I certainly look forward to hearing from you, and thank you for sharing space and time with me this morning.
Yes, thank you so much, Cherry, for your wonderful presentation. The Diva is an very interesting topic, and thank you so much. And we want to see you in our upcoming conference in USA physically and New York.
I will be in New York.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we want to introduce your voice to our global audience physically too. And thank you so much, Cherry. And we have many questions from our audience. We will directly post it to your email so you can reply there.
Perfect. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Melinda, for all of your support.
Thank you so much. And please be on the backstage and join the next session, Cherry.
Will do. Thank you.
Bye-bye.